All right, picture this. Every year, tourists swarm the Mercedes-Benz Museum in Germany. Shiny cars, engineering legends, prestige dripping off the walls. You'd think the company's leadership is just sipping champagne and polishing hood ornaments. But behind the scenes, it's a stress buffet. Electric cars, software upgrades, global competition, and quarterly profits, all pulling them in different directions. And here's the kicker. That exact kind of pressure, every leader feels it. Whether you're running a Fortune 500 or a scrappy startup, you're basically juggling flaming swords while standing on a balance board made of jello. Welcome to Modern Leadership, Robert E. Siegel's book. The systems leader doesn't sugarcoat this. He says today's leaders aren't just managers. They're part strategist, part therapist, part diplomat, part tech geek, and, let's be honest, part firefighter. And every demand seems to pull in the exact opposite direction. Let's break it down into the 5 big pressure cookers Siegel talks about. First, short-term results versus long-term innovation. It's like being told to ace today's exam while also inventing the entire next semester's curriculum. Ignore today, you're toast. Ignore the future, you fade into irrelevance. Look at Boeing and the 737 MAX disasters. Safety and engineering excellence took a backseat to speed and cost cutting. The result? Tragedy, lawsuits, and trust lost overnight. Systems leaders step right into this tension. They don't choose one over the other. They make sure execution and innovation respect each other instead of fighting like rival siblings. Second, strength versus empathy. Some leaders think they've got to be made of steel, barking orders and cracking whips. Others swing to the opposite extreme, endless listening sessions and hugs for everyone. But real leadership? It's both. Revathi Advaithi at Flex tackled automation and job risk head-on while also reskilling tens of thousands of employees so they weren't left behind. Amazon's billion-dollar retraining push? Same deal. Treat people as long-term assets, not disposable parts. Turns out, showing empathy doesn't make you weak. It actually strengthens the whole system. Third, internal focus versus external awareness. Ever worked for a boss who only stares at spreadsheets and forgets customers exist? Or one who's so obsessed with press interviews they ignore the actual team? Both miss the point. Systems leaders build what Siegel calls influence maps, a constantly updated sketch of who really matters in the ecosystem. Customers, suppliers, regulators, employees, even competitors. Naomi Allen at Brightline uses this method to juggle employee morale with external partnerships. It's not about choosing one, it's about flexing focus depending on the moment. Fourth, global consistency versus local relevance. Take Nike under John Donahoe. On one hand, they had activist pressure to pull out of China over human rights. On the other, China was a massive market and customer base. Cue impossible decision. Or think of François-Henri Pinault at luxury giant Kering. Gucci has to feel premium everywhere, but also feel relevant in each culture. So they centralize the non-negotiables, like sustainability, but let local leaders adapt the brand voice. Systems leaders know globalization today isn't just supply chains, it's also politics, culture, and messy trade-offs. And finally, purpose versus performance. When the heat's on, a lot of leaders posture, stunt, or chase headlines. Systems leaders? They anchor themselves in principles. Jim Fish at Waste Management, for example, didn't impose a vaccine mandate during COVID, even though it upset people above him. Why? He prioritized trust and consistency with employees over scoring easy PR points. Cloudflare blocking extremist websites? Same deal. They explained their decision with clarity and humility, not hero speeches. Systems. Leaders understand that in the long run, trust is the currency that keeps the system alive. So what's the secret sauce? It's not being a superhero. It's not magically erasing contradictions. It's learning to live inside them, balancing flexing, and making progress even when the world feels like a tug of war. All right, quick pause. If you're enjoying this breakdown of the systems leader, hit that subscribe button. Think of it as your own systems leadership moment. Balancing short-term satisfaction, yay, another video, with long-term innovation. A whole channel of insights that make you look like the smartest person in the next Zoom meeting. Win-win. Back to business. Systems leaders are builders of resilience. They know technology, politics, climate, social pressure, and media storms aren't slowing down. They don't flinch. They set principles early, prepare their people, build ecosystems of trust, and keep judgment sharp under pressure. In other words, they accept the messiness. They don't pretend leadership is clean or easy or that there's a checklist to follow. They practice, they adapt, they remind us that real power isn't about shouting the loudest. It's about guiding with clarity when everyone else is yelling. So, next time you're staring down a board meeting, a market crisis, or even just a Monday morning inbox that looks like a war crime, channel a systems leader. Balance the now and the next, mix strength with empathy, and stay grounded in purpose. Because the world doesn't need another flashy boss. It needs leaders who can think in systems and maybe even laugh a little while they're at it.